Hi, thanks for watching. You're probably watching because you're interested in putting an offer in on one of our wholesale deals, or you're just interested in figuring out what our process is. So we thought, because we were answering the same question so many times from so many people, we thought it'd be best to record a video to kind of explain the process and make it all a little bit smoother. So first of all, you've joined our buyers list. What we do is we buy properties off market at a deep discount from sellers, and then we sell it at still a discount, but we mark up the price. That allows us to make our spread, and we are still selling it at a discount. So I'm going to share my screen here so you see a little bit of one of our ads would look like. There we go. So this is an example of a property that we recently assigned. It is in Thorold. We have pictures of the property. So this is typically what you will see: details about the property, usually what we think it's worth or what the potential is. The details we know about it, a link to see pictures on Dropbox, and our asking price. Now, our asking price, we typically try not to create a large difference from our asking price. We usually fall within $10,000 more or $10,000 less of our asking price. And we don't always know how much interest there's going to be for a property, but we try to set it up. Even though this property might have been worth $350,000, or I'm not sure, what did we say it was worth on the MLS? We don't necessarily say in every email, but this property might have been worth $350,000 or more. We're not pricing it here to try to bid it up to $340,000. We're trying to get somewhere between $230,000 and $250,000 based on what our asking price is here. We also typically have a price for ourselves where, because we are selling at a discount, it doesn't always make sense for a few different reasons for us to just list it on the MLS. Now, we're selling this before we close on it, right? We're assigning the contract. If we have to close on it, we're now going to have land transfer tax, legal fees, financing costs, realtor commissions on the sale, etc. So that's if we close on it. So that's one of the reasons we're able to, even though we bought it at a discount, we're able to sell it again at a discount. But there is a price. If we're selling for too cheap, it just makes sense for us to just close on it ourselves, list it on the MLS as is, and then sell it for a lot more, and that takes into account all the fees. So, if this property, if we couldn't find an offer above 220 or something like that in this case, then we would just not sell it to our buyers list and take care of it ourselves. So another thing here, the Dropbox link, you want to click on this. Then we have details on the property. So in this case, we have the MPAC report. It's going to show the lot size, details about the property, the square footage, all of those details. So that helps. That is just directly, we try to include those, but the main thing here is your media folder. And this is going to let you get a very good idea of the property before you see it, so that if it doesn't work for you, you don't need to see it. And if it does work for you, you have a very good idea of what the property looks like. So you can see any of these, and there also would be some videos mixed in, videos of each floor, in this case, that let you, you can essentially digitally walk through the house and see what every room looks like, so that you don't need to see the property to know if it doesn't work for you most of the time. What else? So part of the reason we do that is because we want very serious buyers only to come and view the property. One of the value propositions we sell our sellers on is that they're not going to have an open house, a ton of people walking through, realtors walking their clients through, etc. So we really try to make it minimize the impact on them. So what we'd like to have is just a couple of the most serious people, from 2 to 5 people come through the house. More than that, it becomes a bit of a circus for the sellers, and we really try to avoid that. So if we have a lot of interest in a property, we're going to make sure, check that you've looked at comparables, you've looked at the photos, and that you're very serious about the property. On the offer date, we take the best offer, as long as it's an acceptable offer to us, again, whether it's above or below asking. Our assignment fee is built into this price. I repeat that, our assignment fee is built into the price that we're selling it for. You're not paying any fees or anything above that to us. Our assignment fees typically range from $5,000 or $10,000 up to even $100,000. So it can really depend on how much of a discount we got it for, how much value we're providing to our buyers, really. In terms of financing, a lot of times the properties are not in a condition where a traditional bank would lend on it anyways. Also, the assignment fee portion, banks will typically not lend on. Some private lenders will, but if you are using a line of credit or a private lender, that's probably going to be your best way. And again, you may not always be able to finance in the portion that is the assignment fee. You may have to come up with that with your own cash. Traditional, but even if the property is completely livable, traditional banks will typically lend on the initial purchase price. So for example, if we had bought a property for $200,000, we were selling it to $220,000, to you, you're paying us a $20,000 assignment fee. The bank will lend based on the initial value of $200,000. So they'll give you, let's say, 80% loan to value. They'll give you $160,000. So you need to come up with your $40,000 down payment plus our $20,000 assignment fee. That's to a bank. A private lender may be more flexible on that. And deposits, we typically require, even on lower price point homes, at least a minimum of $10,000 deposit. That's held with our lawyer in trust. That's not coming to us directly. We typically give a deposit to the seller's lawyer in trust to be held by them. And then we ask that you provide a deposit to our lawyer to be held in trust for closing. So it typically starts at $10,000. Obviously, if our deposit is higher than that, we typically just ask that if we have a $15,000 deposit to the seller, we would typically ask for a $20,000 deposit from our buyer just to have a little bit more. Offers, we're not looking, in terms of making an offer, we're not looking for you to prepare a full AREA, agreement of purchase and sale, or anything like that. You typically expect firm offers. If you haven't seen the property but are very serious, can explain to us that you've looked at comparables, you've looked at the photos, you understand what the work needs to be done, we will consider offers without you having seen it, conditional on you viewing it for maybe a day. So that we would take that. Now, the main thing for us is we expect a firm offer. We expect you to be able to close on the closing date that we've agreed to with the seller. So in this case, the closing was July 10th, though we did, in this case, it was a fast closing. We did have a feeling the sellers were willing to extend. That's not typically the case. Typically, we would say closing is this day, you need to close that day. So firm offer, closing on the date of ours, and just tell us the price. So you say, I'll pay you, $245,000 for this house. Great. Text message, phone call, email, that's all we need on the offer date. So we typically aren't looking to bid people back and forth. We do take best offer on the offer date that we say. The reason we do that is we want to give everyone a fair chance, right? So we say we're taking best offer by Friday, June 21st. If we sell it to someone on Wednesday, it's not fair to other people who are planning on putting in an offer. So we hold our offers until the day that we say, and this is not a long timeline. We typically, this property would have been sent out probably on this was sent out on June 18th, and we were taking offers on June 21st. So there was 3 days between the time we sent out the email, we showed it on the 20th, 2 days after, and 1 day after showing it, we took the best offer. And if offers are very close to one another, in that case, we might send back the ones that are very close. Like if we got an offer at 240 and 241, we might say, hey, we have two offers that are very close to each other, come back with your best. But if we got an offer at 235 and 240, we're just going to take the higher offer. We're not trying to bid people against each other regularly. The assignment agreement, so once we've agreed to sell it to you, that's when we tell you how much our assignment fee is. And in that case, we then help you fill out the assignment agreement and send you the initial agreement of purchase and sale for your review. The deposit goes to our lawyer, as I said, to be held in trust. There's 3 ways to do that. The first is to take a bank draft from whatever bank you bank at to CIBC, which is where our lawyers bank. Any CIBC location, do a third-party deposit directly into their trust account. You can also courier a check to them or drop it off in person. Or if it's a small amount, occasionally you could send email transfers. And then the closing date is, we really do expect people to close on the date that we've agreed to with the seller. It makes us look bad to our sellers. And time is of the essence, which is a legal concept in real estate. So basically means that if you don't close on the date that you've agreed to and the sellers don't agree to an extension, they can have completely the right to back out. In that case, what we do with our assignments is, as if it's the seller's fault that the deal didn't close, you get your deposit back, you don't owe us anything. But if you didn't close on the day you were supposed to, or if you did something that you're not able to close, you still owe us the assignment fee. And we might be on the hook to the sellers because we also kind of have breached the agreement that way. So we do expect you to close on the date of closing unless you have to negotiate something with the seller to extend, or at the time of signing, you ask us to negotiate something with the sellers and we have that agreed to. But we say we're closing July 10th. We've given the sellers our word on that. We expect you to give your word on it and be true to your word. So that's how the process works. Sorry for this video going a little bit long, but thank you for watching. If you have any further questions, I hope we've answered everything, but if you have any further questions, reach out to us. Thanks a lot.